Interracial dating has and will continue to be a controversial subject. A part of that discourse are different narratives that are pretty common. One popular narrative is that Black men prefer white women, they prefer lighter skinned women, and that when they are successful, they will leave their Black wife or they will leave their Black counterpart and go for that which is lighter.
When they get to the high level, they get a white woman. All I have are the scraps.
Another popular narrative that we all heard is that because Black men are disloyal and they don't like Black women, therefore Black women are forced to divest. And then yet another one we hear is that Black women are usually happier and better off when they divest. I came across this video of a Black man who explains why Black women are happier and better off when they date out and when they divest. Let's see what he has to say and then we'll break it down.
Baby, you are on my mind. All I think about and I don't wanna stop.
I'm gonna get a lot of hate for saying this. I can feel it coming. Probably lose a lot of followers too. I don't care. I'm saying it anyway. Y'all can call it a coincidence. Y'all can say, oh, well, you don't really know what's going on in their relationship. And that may be true. But I can only say what it is that I see and what I have heard. Every Black woman that I know that formerly was with a Black man and is now either married or with a white man is happy.
Like, I really feel like the talking points, they get recycled, wash, rinse, repeat every generation. This is nothing new. We've all heard this before. This is literally what they've been saying for however many decades as a way to justify their desire to date and marry out.
Don't date men because, in her words, they're cheap, and they're always making excuses for why they can't succeed. Melody also says, I think I'd rather stick pins in my eyes than date a Black man.
I think they're cheap. They call you up on the phone. Even if I see like a cute Black guy, I give him my phone number. He calls me and he just wants to talk. He talks, never say, let's go out or let's do this. It's just talk till my face is blue. I'm like, I don't want to talk. I could be doing something else. Then if they do want to take you out, if you go out, it's barbecues or something tacky.
I wish they would just say I prefer white men versus having to spew all this narrative. But nevertheless, this is the idea that they are happier, but they do better when they're with a white man. Fine. Just do not be mad if Black men say and do the same thing. If Black men go and say, you know what? I'm better off, I'm happier when I SYSPM. I'm better off and I'm happier when I date a white girl, when I date somebody of another race. Fine. If you want to go there, if you want to push this narrative, then you just can't be mad and you can't be butthurt if Black men do the same thing. To me, this is all BS because, quite frankly, it's not happening at a high enough rate for us to really know. You don't have an overwhelming amount of white men who are married to Black women. We're not talking about sleeping around. We're not talking about bed buddies. We're not talking about friend-of-fits. We're not even talking about baby daddies. We're talking about white men who are married to Black women by choice. Like, there's not a significant enough cases for that happening with respect to Black men to, I think, really be able to make that distinction. Like I said, Black men are 80 times more likely than any other race of men to marry Black women. So it's like you're really trying to compare this small, very, very small percentage to this overwhelmingly amount of cases, and quite frankly, it's just not really a fair scenario. So this is why I'm like, this narrative to me, it always seems questionable because they always like to highlight these cases on TikTok or on social media where half the time we don't even know these people are paid. But we like to go on social media when people look cute and say, oh, see, they're happier. But then we like to conveniently overlook the divestiture disasters, right? Where women end up missing or in the freezer. Okay.
Man wanted for murdering a woman in downtown Dallas was caught and arrested in Austin. Investigators say 46-year-old Janine Chapman was found dead inside an apartment in the National Building on Elm Street Monday afternoon. Her family says the suspect was an on and off boyfriend who married Chapman over the summer. Fox 4's Amelia Jones live in Dallas with the story. Amelia.
Heather, Janine Chapman's sisters described her as fierce, loving, and ambitious. Her murder blindsided them, especially since the suspect was a man who was so close to their sister.
We like to overlook those instances. Oh no, they're just always happy. Well, to me, it's like,
I don't know why. I'm not saying that there's something wrong with black men. I'm a black man, as you can see. What I'm saying is exactly what I said. Every black woman that I know that is with a white man is happy.
Okay, if he's hanging around the black feminist of the world, or those who have black feminist ideals, you know that they like white men. Not all the time, but generally.
When white people say shit like this, it isn't the serve they think it is. Like, you're a part of the problem, fix your people, bro. Like, when white people are like, I'm white, and white people do suck. Yeah, you're probably a part of those said white people, so do something about it. The fuck? Anyways, for all the bleach demons willing to learn, I see you.
He's hanging around a group of women who have an affinity for white men. Then of course you're going to hear that narrative, because that's already what they are thinking. I doubt he's hanging around happily married black women to black men, or hanging around black women who have a preference for black women, who have a respect for black men. Like, so of course there are probably situations where somebody steps outside of their race and they happen to be happy. Like, I'm not saying that doesn't exist. It does. But what I am saying is that we can't take like a small percentage. The percentage at which white men marry black women is like pretty low. I think currently today in the United States of America, about 1% of white men are married to a black wife. 1% of white men are married to a black wife. Still a really small percentage. So you can't take that and then compare that with like the vast majority of black women who marry, which is still to black men, and then say, oh, they're much happier. It's like, well, that doesn't happen enough for us to really be able to know whether or not that is true. And then secondly, let's just assume that is true, that black women are happier when they date and marry out. Okay, fine, granted, do you, boo. If you can divest, or if you can date and marry out, have fun. Just don't be mad and do not get upset if you see black men saying and doing the same thing. Because best believe, if a black man got up in there and said black men are happier when they are with white women, all hell breaks loose. And all I'm saying is just be consistent. But to me, at the end of the day, just go with who you're happy with. If it's somebody inside of your race, great. I will always support and promote black love. That is my first preference. That's why I married a black man. With that said, if you decide to date or marry somebody outside your race, that's cool too. Just don't get caught up in the BS, okay? Don't put on blinders because the person is white or not black and think that they're going to be perfect. And then also don't demonize somebody obviously of your own race. Like, just be a normal person. And if you are a healthy, normal person, then you will likely attract somebody who is healthy or normal. Like, work on the internal self, work on what you are attracting, because like attracts like. And then you'll probably have a better, happier relationship outcome. And you won't have to blame it on a race or colorism or featureism, texturism or racism or the system or misogyny or patriarchy. You won't have to use all those excuses, because likes attracts likes. And you're a good person and you're a nice person and you are open and you have learned how to engage and be in a relationship. So then therefore you will attract that. I mention this all the time. We live in a culture that is incredibly toxic. Western culture is so toxic, and there is a huge push against healthy relationships, and there is a huge push against being marriage-minded and relationship-minded. So those women who are serious about that, those women who are good women, they have good character, they have worked to themselves, they are marriageable, and they are approachable, they will stand out like a sore thumb. So yeah, if you are relationship-minded, and if you're a good person, then I think you will find an easier time attracting that which is good, whether they are of your race or of your ethnicity or outside of it. But anyways, those are my thoughts. What do you think? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know. Leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment section below. Thank you so much for listening if you've gotten this far, and we'll talk later. Bye.